Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Q1 FY22 earnings conference call of Salzer Electronics Limited. Please note, this conference call may contain certain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I'm now glad to hand the conference over to Mr. Rajesh Duraiswamy, Joint Managing Director of Salzer Electronics Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for joining our earnings call to discuss the unaudited financial performance for the first quarter ended June 30, 2021. I have with me Mr. Bhaskar Subramaniam, Director Corporate Affairs and Company Secretary, Mr. Murugesh, Assistant Company Secretary, Savli Mangle and Rahul Trivedi from Bridge Investor Relations. We have already shared our results update presentation, and I hope you all must have received it and gone through the same. Before we discuss the financial performance of the first quarter, I would like to share some of the recent developments and market scenario with you. As we are all aware, the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic continues to adversely impact our lives and industries, and the onset of the third wave is threatening to start, and there are a lot of uncertainties. A fairly large part of the first quarter was spent in lockdown to curb the virus and prevent its spread, even as the vaccination drive continued throughout the nation. Consequently, operations gradually resumed to full capacity as restrictions were eased in a staggered manner. However, as we have demonstrated during the previous year, even in such trying times, Salzer has been resilient and registered a good performance. On a more positive note, I'm very excited to share that we have recently forayed into electric vehicles vertical in line with one of our growth strategies of adding new products and entering into new and promising business verticals. In July 2021, we entered into two joint ventures, one with an Austrian company, Costard, and another with an Indo-Austrian startup, eMarch LLP. Through our joint venture with Costard, we will be manufacturing DC fast chargers for electric vehicles and related equipments and software. Costard in Austria is a specialist in DC charging stations and equipment and is a renowned brand across Europe. With their technical know-how, we will be manufacturing EV chargers for India and Southeast Asian markets. Through our other joint venture with eMarch LLP, we will be manufacturing electric conversion kits for auto rickshaws, buses, and also cars. We foresee a definite shift in automotive industry towards EVs, especially in the public transport. Stringent emission norms and government support for EVs are going to boost the sector in the coming years. With these ventures, we are positioning ourselves to be a step ahead in the market as the demand picks up. Speaking of our current product portfolio, the domestic dealer and retail market continues to recover slowly from the COVID impact, which reflects in our switchgear and building segment business where sales are picking up pace. We are optimistic that the demand for these products will continue to gain momentum in the coming quarters. The switchgears division has seen a strong order booking, which has helped us achieve higher volumes during this quarter. Prices of raw materials such as copper, plastic, steel, and many other commodities have continued to rise through this quarter. We have been able to pass on this price increase in some of our product lines. However, the margins have been impacted to some extent due to the lag in passing on the price increase. Our export markets are recovering well with significant demand coming in as the impact of the pandemic subsides slowly in the global markets. Export revenues have grown in this quarter. As the industry reopens fully, our growing export market will complement the domestic market to help us grow faster, giving an upbeat view for the next quarter. The near-term market situation is still a little uncertain due to the onset of the third wave of pandemic and potential lockdowns in any part of India. But based on the demand we are witnessing and indications from various customers, we are optimistic for the medium term and definitely optimistic about profitable growth in the long term. The company is well positioned to cater to any demand from our customers and poised to take up new opportunities. Now we will come to our quarterly financial and business performance. During the first quarter, our revenues increased by 55.71% year-on-year to 148.98 crores from 95.68 crores in the previous corresponding period, mainly since the last year's first quarter was severely impacted by nationwide lockdown. Moreover, strong order booking in this quarter for switchgear products also supported the growth. The EBITDA for the quarter stood at 14.8 crores as compared to 9.59 crores in the corresponding previous period, which is a year-on-year growth of 54%. Q1 FY22 EBITDA margin stood at 9.95%, which is a decline of 9 basis points compared to last year. The profit after tax was at 3.95 crores in Q1 FY22 as against 0.69 crores in the corresponding previous period, Q1 FY21. Moving on to the breakup of revenues as per the business divisions, the industrial switchgear division contributed 49.34% to the total revenues in this quarter. Our wire harness product has been growing ever since it was introduced in the market, mainly driven by newly acquired business from existing OEMs. Wire harness business alone grew 106% year-on-year in Q1 FY22. The industrial switchgear division's EBITDA margin stood at 12.7% in Q1 FY22. The wire and cable division contributed 45.62% to our revenues in this quarter. It is a 24% year-on-year revenue growth in this division during the quarter. This division's EBITDA margin stood at 8.56%. The building product division has contributed 5% in this quarter. This business is only B2C business that we have. Consumer sentiment in the real estate market was relatively muted till now. Slowly, we are seeing signs of recovery from this quarter. We expect the trend to improve in the coming quarters, which will help us increase our contribution from this segment. The fourth is the energy management division. During the quarter, we have not received any new order from the government as there were no tenders issued during this period. We are hopeful that in the coming quarters, we'll be able to bag some new projects under this division. On the export front, except initial fluctuations due to the lockdown, we are seeing steady growth, especially from the US and European markets. Exports to the Americas grew 41% year-on-year in this quarter. Exports to Europe grew 175% year-on-year in this quarter. For this quarter, the export share of revenue was at 24%. We are seeing strong demand coming in from US, Asia, and Europe as well, from the domestic OEMs also, which should help us recover post the second wave of COVID. While the situation does remain slightly fluid and uncertain, especially in the domestic market, we expect things to be under control from the second quarter onwards. Our aim is to maintain and improve margins and ROCE and focus on our working capital cycle and remain competitive to capitalize on the opportunities arising in the future. Our joint ventures in the EV space reflect this vision to innovate and diversify our product portfolio and also stay ahead of the market trends. I thank all the stakeholders of Salsa Electronics Limited for their continued support and faith in the company and wish all of you good health. This is all from our side for now. I would once again like to thank everyone for your time and attention. We can now take questions.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may please press star and one at this time. The first question is from the line of Krishi Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And congratulations on good set of numbers. I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
The first set being in line with KC Industries. So what kind of synergy are we seeing with KC Industry? And has there been any tangible benefit in terms of revenue?
Actually, KC Industries, as I have been saying, was our direct competitor for rotary switches, one of our products. And we are seeing a lot of synergies in that particular product between KC and Salzer. We are on the manufacturing side, we are seeing a lot of cost savings for KC. And on the market front, I think we have avoided direct competition in a lot of areas. So that is one thing. But unfortunately, as soon as we took over KC in 2019, we only had 4 or 5 months before the lockdown came. And I think the market has been very uncertain after that. And Maharashtra has been very badly impacted due to the pandemic. So we are still not fully seeing the results of the synergies and the cost cutting both in KC as well as Salzer. But I'm sure that the acquisition of KC is going to help both Salzer and KC in that particular product to improve margins.
Okay. So in terms of what you said, do we have any specific target or market share that we want to acquire?
No, I think there is no target of a market share, but with the KC brand in our fold, I think we are in a much stronger position in the market to compete with low-cost brands, I would say, which we were not able to do when we were doing with only Salzer brand. So with KC brand in our portfolio, I think we are in a much stronger position to compete in a market where we were not able to compete otherwise.
Okay, sure, sir. So next few questions are in regards to what you said in your speech earlier about the JV and EV market. So could you please elaborate a little on these announcements about entry into the EV market? Like, what are the reasons that we enter into these new segments? What kind of returns can be expected? And is there any time frame to that?
We have always been wanting to get into EV market. I think we have announced this plans even a couple of years before that we wanted to manufacture EV chargers, and we did them, the slow chargers. However, I think we foresaw that DC fast chargers are going to be the future whenever the EV market starts picking pace. So for this, we were looking for partners who can come with good technology to make DC fast chargers, and that's how we identified this company, CoStart, and we got into them, joint venture with them to manufacture DC fast charging. So that's one business that we are looking at. And the time frame, I think it's very difficult for us to give a timeline and the growth projections as of now, because we see that EV markets itself is picking pace for two-wheelers only now. So for four-wheelers and other vehicles, I think it's at least another 2 years before the market really starts picking pace. So that's when we will start seeing revenues for chargers. In the meanwhile, we are working with various government agencies, including ESL, CESL, and various state governments, to see how we can work with them to create an EV infrastructure using chargers. On the other joint venture, which I think is a very innovative one, to make electric conversion kits, mainly for auto rickshaws and also for buses and trucks. This, I think, is a new market that we are seeing. Not many people in India are doing, though there are some local manufacturers in various parts of the country are manufacturing this. There's no company that is making this in a major way. So we see this can be a good breakthrough in converting existing auto rickshaws and buses to electric. So here again, I think difficult for us to give a projection as of today, where we are still doing some analysis on trials and research on how this can pick pace and what will be the volumes that we'll be able to achieve. So maybe a couple of quarters down the line, we will be able to give you a projection and timeline for these two businesses.
Okay, sir. So, do we require additional capex in the company? Are we planning to invest any capex
No,
now?
as of now, all the investments that we will be doing will be through internal generation. No additional debt we are going to take. And the capex, I think, as we announced, the total investment in both these ventures put together coming to around 14 plus 2, 317 crores is what we are estimating as of today.
Okay, sir. And will this existing capacity be used in this, or do we need to add any?
This is completely new capacities that we have to add because it's completely new products. We can use some of our facilities and some of the infrastructure that we have, but this will be a new product and a new setup has to be made.
Okay. So do we have anything in mind for that? Are we looking at something as of now already?
Something as of now in the sense? I didn't
in terms of manufacturing, like capacities or?
Yes. I think that is where the investment is going into, and that's what we are going to set up.
Okay, sure, sir. So, are there like key customers for these products under EV business? Have we already identified a few customers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For both businesses, we have identified a few customers, and we have already started doing trials.
Okay. And so are we competing with some existing players already? Do we have someone?
Yes. On the EV chargers, we have competitors. We have companies like ABB, Delta, even Siemens is into chargers, and we also see companies like Ather making chargers for two-wheelers. So we have competition in that space.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. That's it for now, and good luck for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kiran Nayak from Modi FinCap. Please go ahead.
So, thank you for giving me a chance. Any plans of inorganic growth?
We always look for opportunities, but there's nothing in the agenda right now.
Okay. And you have taken the advantage of the PLI scheme of government?
No, our products are not covered under the PLI scheme. I think the new ventures will be covered, so we will be taking advantage of that for the new project EV products.
And what is our market share in the products we deal into?
It's very difficult to give a market size for the products because we have 15 different products. I think each product is having different market size. So it will be very difficult for us to give a total market size for all the products.
But still, can we predict a 5-10% share we have, or more than that?
I think a couple of products we already have close to 20-25%, and rotary switch we must be having 35% with the acquisition of KC on the market share. And all the rest of the products, I think we should be between 5 and 7%.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, we would like to remind participants that you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Aniket Redkar, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir, and congratulations on the good set of numbers.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Sir, I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, there is rise in revenue in quarter by 55.7% YOY. So, which factor contributing the most for rise in revenue?
I think we should accept that the last year first quarter was a washout quarter. So it was a lockdown quarter. So we had minimal revenue. So that's one reason that you're seeing a very high growth. But even otherwise, I think this quarter also had a 1 month lockdown across various parts of the country, and which also affected the revenues. Otherwise, we could have done much better in this quarter. Secondly, I think, as you said, the industrial switchgear business has contributed very well this quarter. Overall, I think we did around 74 crores in Q1 for industrial switchgear business, which is even on a normal basis, it is 15% growth. That is the business that is growing well now this quarter.
Okay. So next question. So switchgear and building segment, if you can see, is double in revenue during this quarter. So which factor driving the growth?
I think the general market is improved across the globe. Our exports have grown. We've got 24% share of exports, which is 4% higher than the normal exports that we have. So that's also one of the reasons why switchgear business is growing at a faster pace, and also domestic OEMs business have picked up very well. The demand is very robust.
Okay. Regarding the same question related to the building division, as you mentioned, real estate is showing a sign of recovery. So what do you envisage for the building division in this and next quarter? Are we catching
I would
to
say
the
that
same
we have not really done very well in the building division this quarter, though the sale have doubled compared to last quarter. That's mainly because last quarter was a bad quarter. Otherwise, we have not really performed very well in the building segment division. But we expect that the market sentiments to improve going forward.
Are we chasing for the new? Are we chasing for the new clients as a sector reopens? I mean,
yes, I think new clients, existing clients, both we are chasing. Even the existing clients offtake has reduced relatively. So I think the second quarter or third quarter onwards, this segment for us should do very well.
Okay.
We are aiming for at least 7 to 10% share of revenues from this division.
Okay, sir. Okay. So, sir, raw material expense, if you can see as a percentage of sales, decreased slightly YOY, leading to improve the gross margin. Is it due to the successful passing on the price hike to the customer?
No, I think this slight fall is mainly because of the share of revenues. I think when we have higher share of industrial switchgear revenues coming in, the raw material consumption percentage falls a little bit. But otherwise, the price increase is still not fully passed on. We are still seeing some impact, at least 1 to 1.5% impact on our margins because of the price rise, which I think will get offset over the next 2 quarters.
Okay. So, sir, employee expenses also grew YOY by 52.7%. So, is it just because of the low labor charges during this lockdown?
Which expense you say?
Employee expenses, sir.
Employee expense actually grew. It didn't grow. I think this is our normal expenses. But last year, first quarter, we had lockdown. So the employee cost during that period was low. That is why you're seeing a growth. I mean, higher expenses this quarter. But otherwise, this is our normal expense.
Okay. So, sir, operating cost also we can see there is an increase by 74.2% as well as percentage of revenue, leading to contraction in EBITDA margin.
Yes.
So, what factor led to this increase, and what do these expenses comprise of?
Again, the comparison to last year first quarter is not very correct, because last year first quarter it was a complete lockdown and we had very less fixed expenses. We actually had no expenses. But this year was a little different because it was a partial lockdown across different parts of the country. We were operating on a very partially. So we had to undergo a lot of fixed expenses, but at the same time we were not able to see full revenues coming in. So that is why we see that other expenses as a percentage to the revenue gone up by 1 percentage point. So as I said, 1% here and at least another 0.5% in raw materials. Together, 1.5% is the effect that we are seeing on the EBITDA.
Okay. Okay. So, sir, again, related to the building division, I just want to know more that what would be your target share of revenue from the building division, and what level of margin do we get in this business?
Ideally,
as a future point of view.
We should get to 100 crore revenue target for this division. Maybe this year we will be closing by between, like, I would say 50 crores as compared to last year's 35. So hopefully next year we want to do 100 crores on this business, which has been our aim for at least for last 2 years, but unfortunately we are not able to get to that level. So hopefully I think this from this year onwards it will be a turnaround.
Okay. Okay. So, could you throw some light on the energy management business? What is your future expectation from this division? Because as we can see, not much tender we are getting right now. But is there any opportunity you can see?
Not very much. I think I'm not very optimistic on this division as of today, because it's a very very fluid business. So it comes sometimes because there are also a lot of projects which we are already taken up through EESL is also stalled because they are due to lack of funds from the government. So I'm not very optimistic on the energy management business as of now.
Okay. So
and all our future projections are not including this division's revenues.
Okay. Got it. So, sir, are we exploring
Aniket,
any
sorry
new countries?
to interrupt. Maybe request you to come back in queue for follow-up questions. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag Patel, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Congratulations for the good set of numbers, sir.
Morning, sir. Thank you.
I have a question. Like we incorporated several entities during this quarter, for mainly focusing to EV side. Electric vehicle side. So from where can we expect the production and all should start and come into stream?
We expect this production for these 2 ventures to start somewhere first quarter next year, March, April 2022 is what we expect this production to start and revenues to come in.
Okay. And sir, what product mainly we targeting, other than battery?
One is electric vehicle charging stations. The other one is electric conversion kits for autos and buses.
Okay. So even ABB, as you mentioned, and Siemens also in this segment, right? So
yes, ABB and Delta are the 2 companies currently making this type of chargers here, the fast chargers.
Okay. So Tata Power also announced that they partnering with one OMC to set up kiosk at their existing petrol pumps, fuel pumps.
Tata Power doesn't manufacture chargers, but they buy chargers from either of these 2 companies, ABB or Delta.
Okay, right. So from a strategic partnership point of view, which vendors we are looking to tie up, similar to what Tata Power do?
We are looking at various options. I think the government is having a lot of plans to set up or develop the EV infra. So they have promoted a company called CESL, which is a subsidiary of EESL. So CESL is exclusively looking at EV business. So we are talking to them to get partnered with them, their tenders, and we're also talking to various other state governments, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka to be specific. To see how we can implement EV charging infrastructure along with the state government's plans.
Okay.
Apart from that, we are looking at various other customer base. I think there's a lot of opportunities in charging stations.
Okay.
We are also approaching Tata Power. We are also approaching Tata Power to see if we can have a business tie-up with them.
To follow up to this question only, 10-12 years back also one boom has come for electric vehicle, particularly in 2-wheeler side. Okay, So, but it has not, gathered that much momentum and succeeded well. So, what is this time different story compared to the previous such momentum?
I think the only thing that is stopping people to buy an EV car or a two-wheeler is the range of the vehicle. I think whatever vehicles we had earlier, I think the range was a problem. And then also the mindset of where to get charged if vehicle stops in between. Unlike the fuel bikes or cars, you can see petrol pumps across, and there's no fear of range. So when the fear of range is gone, I think then this EV business will start picking up. And the vehicles that are coming today, both two-wheelers as well as cars, are a much better quality and having much better range. So now when we have the charging infrastructure set up across, I think the EV business will start picking pace.
Okay. So for these charging stations which you are talking about, what normally take time to fully charge the average battery which any EV has?
A car like, for example, Tata's electric car or Hyundai Kona should get full charged in less than 20 minutes if we do it in the fast charger.
Okay. So
which has a range of around 300 kilometers.
Okay. On lithium-ion battery, right?
Yes, on lithium-ion battery.
Okay. So how the future fuel station will be look like? Because currently we also see sometimes queue in petrol pump or fuel station at certain places. On crowd places. So how they will manage in future? Because if it takes 20 minutes, right? Then how the traffic can be get controlled and visualization for future fuel station, I'm asking.
I think it's too early to see how this will develop, but I can see that electric charging stations will be also a part of the infrastructure that, along with the fuel stations. I won't say that the combustion normal cars will just vanish and everything will be electric. I think electric will be also, along with the combustion vehicles, will be running, and you will see a lot of charging stations across various places, across restaurants, across even in petrol pumps. You might be seeing charging stations in future. So I think it has to evolve in that manner.
Okay, sir.
And going forward, this current 20 minutes may also come down. With the onset of technology, I think with more research getting into this, this timing also will start dropping.
Okay, sir. And other than this charging and this power conversion, are we looking to manufacture any other product or component for this EV industry going forward?
Not immediately.
Development.
No, nothing to announce as of today.
Okay. And what percentage of revenue we are expecting to come 3-4 down the line from these two ventures?
I think we are projecting at least each businesses should do 50 to 100 crores. So electric conversion kit, we are targeting 50 crores in 3 years. And charging stations, I think we should target at least 100 crores in 3 years if the business really starts picking up.
Okay. And what margin we expect? I know it's at currently it's just.
I think it will be too early for us to commit anything on that front.
Okay, sir. Best of luck.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Zaki Nasser, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Rajesh. Congrats on a decent set of numbers for a difficult quarter. I think Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu was pretty bad. Sir, last year we did around 630 crores on a consolidated basis. Considering that things are opening up and we have our infra in place for growth, do you think that we can have a 15% growth over that figure in the current year on the top line basis? That is question number one. Question number two is, Mr. Rajesh, these tie-ups which you had with both these companies for the EV infra or EV chargers, do you think that Salzer as a core company will get some overflow of orders from these things like wire harnesses and stuff like that? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vicky. Yes, I think we will definitely get the component business from manufacturing of these charging stations as well as conversion kits. Particularly, I think wire harness and some electrical components that will go into these products. Yes, but that is not going to be very major. On your other question, on what kind of a growth you are seeing, yes, I think 15% growth over last year is definitely possible. That's what we are targeting. Actually, we're targeting more, but at least 15% growth is what we are looking at.
And sir, what would be the debt levels at the end of the year? Would they remain the same, considering we are going in for a small expansion and stuff like that? So I guess they will remain the same, right?
Compared to last year, first quarter, the debt have increased, but we are maintaining in the same level like March 21. And I expect this to remain at this level or go down going forward. Because we are not doing major capex for these two ventures.
Sir, what about the input prices, Mr. Rajesh? Do you see you are a direct buyer, so you have a feel. So do you think these will continue to be strong things from things like plastic to copper to everything, or do you think this is a temporary supply constraint rise, sir?
I definitely think that it is going to be temporary, but temporary in the sense how long is a question that we are all looking at. For now, I think this is going to remain high, and that is why we have decided that we will raise prices, and we have started doing that since last, I would say, even January. So hopefully, prices will go down, and that will be an advantage for the company. But I don't think that's going to happen in this financial year at least. So for now, I think this increased prices is going to remain like that.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh, and best of luck to you and Team Salzer for the year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Ohri from Progressive Shares. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good to see the margins coming from the switchgear business and the new initiatives that you've started. My questions are related to both the entities, KC as well as Salzer. Now for KC, what sort of opportunities do you see, or any sort of guidance that you would like to share for the business in terms of the operations and the new products that KC must be working on?
As I mentioned, I think as soon as we took over KC, even before we started consolidating, it went on a lockdown, and it has been a very unstable after that, the last full year. So we did around 23 crores in KC last year. We have a target of 33 crores for this year for KC products in India. The main objective of acquiring KC for Salzer is to improve margins for both Salzer and KC wherever we were competing directly. So that is a synergy that we are working on, and hopefully we will achieve that in this financial year. And we will see margin improvements both at KC level and at Salzer level for rotary switch business. And secondly, as I mentioned just previously in this call, I think with the KC brand, we are at a much better position to compete with the other low-cost brands in the market. And that is the confidence that we think that we will be able to grow KC at 20% going forward.
Okay. So when we say these low-cost brands, so how does it blend in with the margins? I mean, like, will KC be able to come to the margin level of what Salzer has, a blended margin of around 10 to 12%?
I would say that this business, the volumes actually gives us to be a better manufacturer. So if we have more volumes, I think the cost actually comes down. In fact, actually the cost of manufacturing at Salzer is actually lower than cost of manufacturing at KC. But unfortunately, because we are a brand leader, we are a technology leader, we are also a price leader in that particular market. So we will not be able to reduce our price and compete with those brands which are competing at the lower end of the market. So we needed a brand to go and get those businesses. That is where the KC comes in and helps us.
Okay. So what I understand is the streamlining of the cost is slightly difficult for KC, but the volumes are the factor that can absorb the fixed cost.
Right.
Okay. And any new products that KC is working on, or you want to share the product pipeline of KC?
The company is working on 3-4 not new products, but addition to the existing lines. We are working on that, and I think this year it will be added to those products. It is not a completely new product, but extension of the existing range.
Okay, it's a catalog product then. Are you trying to say that?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. When we speak about the passing of the prices, which you already alluded to the previous participant, the passing of the prices generally takes how much time in terms of maybe a quarter or so, or 2 quarters?
Normally it is a quarter, but this time it has been very unstable because the prices have been going up every month and every quarter. So we couldn't predict how much the price is going to go up and how much. So we have increased the prices have gone up again. We have increased again, but prices have gone up further.
Okay,
so we have to do a third increase.
Okay, so these revision of prices that we have probably with the OEMs, so is this half yearly basis or on full yearly basis, or what is the current scenario?
Normally on an annual basis, sometimes 2-year basis. But whenever commodities change, we are allowed to go and request for a new price.
Okay, so currently, is it fair to assume that quarterly is the trend that we are following for price hikes?
Yes.
And in this time of like 4 months or so, have you been able to take any price hikes or?
We have done 2 price rises. I think I mentioned this even before the last quarter call. We have done 2 price rises so far.
Okay. And in terms of order book and the order intake, if you can share that number for Salza.
We don't work on long order books. I think it's normally on a month-on-month, 4-week to 6-week delivery. That is how we work. But overall, we see strong demand coming from all sectors.
Okay. And if you would like to share the capacity utilization of both the plants for KC as well as for...
We are at around 70% capacity for Salzer in all plants.
Okay.
And KC will be much higher at around 75% utilization.
Okay. And any issues or any one-offs that you see from the receivables, any defaulters or anybody as such?
No.
No, nothing as such. Sir, on the new businesses which you have started working on, if you can just explain a little bit more on the business which is related to the kit that you spoke about, the conversion kit. So will this be completely for the electric driven vehicles, or are you looking at the hybrids in this scenario?
No, this is not both. It is not both what you said. This is you see a lot of buses and auto rickshaws in the road, passenger auto rickshaws. They are all run either by petrol, diesel, or CNG. So there are still many petrol and diesel driven auto rickshaws. So you give a kit to that auto rickshaw where you remove their petrol engines and fix this electric kit. So you convert a petrol auto rickshaw into an electric auto rickshaw.
Okay. So for us,
and similarly for a bus, remove the engine, fix the kit, and convert the bus, a diesel bus, into an electric bus.
Okay. So in this kit, you are trying to make use of the wire harness part of the business. Is it fair to assume that?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, sir. In terms of competition for these kits for three-wheelers and then for the buses, do you feel that the competition from China would lead to a partial overcapacity, and then it might suppress the margins from whatever we start from in the future?
Yes, I think competition from China is there for all products, definitely, because Chinese started making kits, I would say, at least 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
But we don't see a major issue because of that, because we will be competitive, and which we are already competing with Chinese companies for our existing products. So I don't see anything different in this business also.
Okay, so the fear of the blended margins coming below 10 or something is something that you have already taken into account, that you will not work for a product if the margin is taking a hit. Is it
correct?
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. And you also mentioned that the opportunities for the electric vehicles currently low in India in terms of the four-wheelers. But then if we look at the export opportunity for the kits as well as the other equipment required for the e-vehicles wherein you have made a joint venture, don't you think that we can export more rather than focusing on India? And when India's infrastructure develops, that is the time when we can come and we can, kind of get a market share.
You're absolutely right. I think that is why we have the rights to sell in the Far East and also the Middle East.
Okay.
So we will definitely explore that business opportunity. You're right. It's definitely a good idea.
So the exports from current 25-40% will try to go up, and the ratios would change in next
so
1
it will not directly reflect in our books because they will be joint ventures, separate companies. On a consolidated basis, yes, what you say is right.
Okay. So in 2-3 quarters ago, we had a vision of around 1,000 crore in next 2-3 years or so. So is that vision still intact, or
yes,
do you?
It's still intact, and we are on target. I think this year, as I just mentioned to Mr. Zaki, that we will be close to around 700 crores is what we are planning to achieve. If things are good and if we don't see further impact due to this pandemic, maybe we will get to a better sales than 700 also. And I think the next 1 or 2 years, I think we should be at 1,000 crores.
So that translates into around 20-22% CAGR growth. So you've been very conservative with 700 crores right now.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm talking on a standalone basis, but on a consolidated basis, we should be at around 730, 740 crores.
Okay. And this is not including the new ventures into the EV with the 2 new players.
New ventures, I don't think we will see revenues in this financial year, but I think we should start seeing revenues from those businesses in the next financial year.
Okay. Okay, sir. I'll get back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Karan Arora from Green Portfolio. Please go ahead.
Hi. Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, congratulations on the numbers. Just wanted to ask, in the conversion kits segment that you have JV in, what are the kinds of end customers for us?
I think the idea for us on the conversion kit is to tie up with the workshops, the mechanic workshops, automobile workshops, and automobile distributors, and sell through them. Our target is the existing auto rickshaw owners, and in terms of buses, we are trying to go to government again to see if the transport corporations buses can be converted. So these are the 2 markets that we are looking at.
So have we approached in terms of the conversion kits for the buses? Have we approached the government agency?
We are approaching. We are talking to them. We have them to listen to this. So we are going to do a further presentation to the technical teams, and we're also trying to do some trials.
And on the DC charging side, what is the could you do you have some sort of a target as to how many on the capacity side for these chargers basically when you start in the next year?
Yes.
What would be the capacity number?
We are looking at least 100 charges for first year. We are looking at that means the current year. But I'm not projecting that in the revenue side. But we want to do at least 1,000 chargers the next year. Average price of a charger we are looking at around 6 lakhs. So that will be at least 60 crores business that we are looking at.
Right. Right. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag Patel, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Sir, the EV system in developed nation like US particularly and Europe is getting more strong momentum compared to India due to their demographic there and the existing players over there. So are we looking to export these two products over there as well? Not in near future, but
not to US definitely, but to other markets we are definitely looking at exporting, and that is how the agreements we have signed. So we are allowed to sell to any part of the world except Europe, where I think the partner is already there. So all the rest of the world is free for us to sell, and we definitely will see opportunities coming from Southeast Asia and Middle East. To US we have not explored as of now, and we are not looking at that market right now.
Okay.
In my opinion, I think the size of the market in India will be much larger than the European market.
Okay. And sir, about conversion kit, as you mentioned that the average price for the charger is around 6 lakhs. So what can be the cost for this conversion kit for auto rickshaw and bus? Because in BRTS system, which is bus rapid transit system, government is going to contract to Electra company, which is supplying them the electric bus. So, but they are very costly at this moment. So government have a good viability to convert the existing diesel buses into this EV. So what price can be quoted for conversion kit?
Right now, I don't have a cost for bus conversion kits, but for e-rickshaws, auto rickshaw conversion kits, right now the price is around 55,000 rupees, but we are looking to bring this down to around 40,000 once the volume picks up. So it will be idea is to sell one conversion kit to an auto rickshaw for 40,000 rupees, where the auto rickshaw's running cost will come down from the current rupees 5 to 6 per kilometer to less than 1 rupee per kilometer.
Sorry, again repeat. What can be the...
Chirag, I'm sorry to interrupt you. May we request you to come back in queue for follow-up questions?
The cost per running cost per kilometer from the existing cost to run an auto rickshaw per kilometer, including fuel and maintenance, is approximately 6 rupees per kilometer. But if it gets converted into an electric auto rickshaw, the running cost will drop to 1 rupee per kilometer.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kiran Nayak from Modi FinCap. Please go ahead.
Sir, as on 30th June, what is the promoter holding?
Your voice is breaking, sir.
So what is the promoter holding as on 30th June?
Promoter?
Promoter holding.
So around 33%.
Okay. In coming quarters, promoter is trying to increase the stake?
Yes, sir. Yes, we have plans. I think you will hear about that soon.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Karan Arora from Green Portfolio. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah. Back again, with the conversion kit, could you lay out what are the parts of the conversion kit? What are the kind of parts that the conversion kits have?
I think it's mostly mechanical parts, along with the battery and the battery management system.
And so the battery, like, are we going to be producing these batteries or acquiring them?
No, we'll be purchasing the batteries.
Right. Okay. That's it.
Thank you. That was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rajesh Doraiswamy for closing comments.
So once again, thank you all for your great interest in Salsa Electronics and the new businesses. So I'm looking forward to interact with you again in the coming quarter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Salza Electronics Limited, that concludes this conference call for today. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.